Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. And it gives me great pleasure to be with you today and you with me, with us here on Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Thank you for being here again, once again. Femi Ojo is my name. How was your weekend? Okay, all kind of responses. I can imagine what your response will be, or how it went down. But then this is the first official working day of the week, so make it count. Many things happened over the weekend, event here and there last week, decisions, appointments, ratifications. The good news, not so good ones, about, at least the passing, the announcement of the passing of the former Chief of Army Staff, late General Tariq Lakwaja, upgrading, if I may say it, of the rank of the acting Chief of Army Staff right now, Lieutenant General Oluyede. I hope I've got that correct. Life continues. That's what they say. And of course, this is a decision-making week. This weekend, the good people of the Sunshine State, Ondo State, will be going to the polls to elect their leaders. We'll be looking into that. Their leader, rather, the governor. Who will it be? Loki Aiyedatiwa is the governor right now. He's seeking re-election, and other contenders across other parties as well. We'll look into that. And of course, River State, what has been happening there across the country as well, as much as time will permit us. I want to tell you and promise it's going to be a very bumper ride and a bumper edition this morning. Promises to be very exciting. And of course, I'm not the only one. You get to meet my colleague after this break. We're ready with the papers and the conversation. We are very much ready with you as well. And we are beaming live on Western Spring Television on channel 190 DTT and also on our YouTube channel at Western Spring TV. You can follow us on all our social media handles as well, X, Facebook, and of course Instagram. If you are ready, we are ready as well. Stay with us.
In our lifetime, Nigeria has become a center for smuggling ivory and pangolin scales.
This is one of two Nesria holding facilities for seized wildlife
Containers
stockpiles.
are coming from Nigeria.
As Africa's key transit hub.
Illegal trade in wildlife has caused the decline of many species.
But together, we can change this story. No longer will we tolerate wildlife trafficking. We are updating our laws, increased the penalties, and prosecuted more offenders.
Nigeria remains fully committed in the fight against wildlife crime, and we will continue to honor all international obligations to protect our biodiversity.
Together, we will protect our wildlife for future generations. Please report wildlife crime and say no to illegal bushmeat. Because protecting nature protects all of us.
All right, thank you. The time now is what it is, and it's time for the papers as well, where we reel out, juicy headlines from our major dailies. And of course, Evelyn is there. Good morning, Evelyn.
Good morning, Femi. How are you doing today?
Well, very well, thank you.
Good morning, people. Of course, it's Monday, and we are ready to, get up to work and make some money. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei. Welcome aboard.
All right, let me kickstart the headline segment this morning from the front page of The Guardian. The Guardian newspaper. Delayed 2025 to 2027 MTEV threatens budget cycle. Right? And you can see the men involved there in this conversation, at least the top guys, that will be mentioned in these budget presentation, the MTEV 2025, to 2027. And the House of Reps have been calling for the president to do the needful for a while, especially as we want to maintain that January to the December budget cycle line. And so for them to do a thorough job, a measure of presentation, thorough one should have been done, and then the president will come with the budget at least for 2025. And these are some of the issues as well. But the Guardian is reporting the late 2025 to 2027 MTEF threatens budget cycle. See the picture of the president, President Tinubu, the Senate President, Gozola Pabio, his House of Reps counterpart, Speaker Abbas, the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, of course, the Budget and Planning Minister, Atiku Bagudu. Below that, 2027, Jonathan Obi Kwakwanso's names resound as political jostling intensifies, as they say on the street here. It is what it is. We are still in 2024. Names are being bandied around, for the election that will happen in 2027. But then that's what the politicians do, especially around here, knowing how to win elections, But when hopefully we get to how to govern properly someday. Now, besides that, stop wicked governors from giving cars, houses to judges, Serap tells Tinubu. All right, I think one of our guests talked about that earlier, or two of our guests last week. Yeah, it's good to intervene, a measure of intervention. If the executive, can do some things to help any, endeavor, either in government or, private citizens. But then, a very important part of governance is the judiciary, arm of government, by the way. And it actually looks that the state governors, ministers are always seeking to make life better for them, quote unquote. Many persons will see that and say there's something more than meets the eye in all of these things, because the judiciary and judicial officers are expected to stand above any reproach, anything that will make anybody to point at them, and that's why most of the times they are not really seen socially. You don't see them in every kind of gathering because of the huge work, very secret job that they are doing. And Sarah was saying, stop wicked governors from giving cars and houses to judges so that they can stay very above. And below that, you have another picture of the First Lady and a very young man here. That is the First Lady, Remi Tinubu, presenting Ulesi educational tablet to students of Calabar Preparatory School, Master Akpabio Goswell. Interesting. That's an interesting name there. Evelyn, Master Akpabio Goswell. Okay. And that name resonates. Away from that, by the way, Arewa groups, Huriwa, signing not enough to accept Tinubu's tax reform, and NLC threatening strike December 1, demands wage review over worsening hardship. Interesting. Stranded oil wells, old facilities store 2.5 million barrels per day oil production. An expert underscore employees' mental health amid rising workplace depression. We spoke to that effect like a few weeks ago about what people are going through, and especially at the place of work and how they can cope with that. And here again, bottom strip expert underscore employees. Yeah, same topic I just took right now. But that will be all from the Guardian.
From the Guardian newspaper this morning, we head on to Nigerian Tribune. On Nigerian Tribune this morning, you can see the bold headline there. Presidency gets hard on Atiku. The writer says he is envious of Tinubu's position. Okay, Nigeria's tax system, among most backward worldwide, contains 1939 laws, says Ohiolei. New terrorist group in Northwest, crush it now. ACF tells FG. For the rider, acting COAS in Sokoto calls for citizens cooperation. And of course, he has already gotten to work and trying to, continue from where the late Lieutenant General Tarid Lagbaja ended. Investors scout for returns as 12 companies embark on 2.26 trillion naira capital raising activity. NLC demands action on worsening hardship, economic crisis. Nigerians groan under high transportation costs. We talked about, the federal government talking about the CNG buses, provision of the CNG buses, and all of that. And I remember always asking, how many CNG buses have the government provided in each state that can go around with people? You see maybe 5 CNG buses, 10 CNG buses for one state. Then I want to ask, how many can go around, and even how many CNG stations, conversion stations do we have in a state? Because you can see Nigerians are groaning under high transportation costs. It's not easy at this time. And of course, the picture on the Nigerian Tribune is that of Mr. President being received by the Deputy Governor of Riyadh, Prince Mohammed Abdulrahman, at King Abdulaziz International Airport, to attend the Joint Arab Islamic Summit in Saudi Arabia. That's the president with Prince Mohammed Abdulrahman of Riyadh, also with their entourage. Top corner, Monday Lines, 75, a bouquet of stories. An IGP bans a Motekun vigilante from Ondo Pole. NSCDC deploys 6,000 operatives. That will be all from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
All right, from the Tribune, I move to the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust. Cement hits 8,800 naira as cost of building materials skyrockets. Interesting one this morning. The paper you took this center is about, one of the topics talking about the people groaning under the, high cost of transportation, right? And the Daily Trust is talking about cost of building materials again. And the question is, what is there anything in this nation that has remained the same? Obviously, no. And it's about complaints and burdens and burdens and burdens as well. Cement, 8,800 naira as cost of building materials skyrockets. Now, let me ask this question this morning. And at least we have like 2 or 3, indigenous companies producing cement in Nigeria. At least, let me say 2. Let me be very factual. You have the one from Dangote Cement and Bua Cement as well. I think there is another one, Lafarge, owned by some companies as well. These are produced here in Nigeria. Yes, we know the factors of production and all of these things, but then it's still very high. The cost is very high. The point I'm trying to make is this. Assuming that we are not producing these things in Nigeria and we are importing it, do you know, people have been making a case to justify the high cost of this product because they will say it is being imported. If you understand what I'm saying. Now we are not importing it and it's being sold 8,800 naira per bag for what we are producing here, and we have it. Just like I said, the factors of production and everything, cost and all of those things. But how can a bag of cement be 8,800 naira in this nation? We are the one producing.
I mean, there was a time that a bag of cement was, 2,000. Or less than. In fact, there was a time it was 1,500.
I bought 1,008 before.
And it wasn't like in the early 2000s.
It was
not in the 1990s. You get, it was just a few years back. You could buy a bag of cement for 2,000, 2005. And I tell you, now it's at 8,000 naira. There was a time it was 10,000 naira. People bought at 11,000 naira per bag. I should remind you.
And people have to shout.
Earlier this year, late last year, earlier this year. But then, like you mentioned, the cost of production, you have to factor it in.
Yeah,
because
I understand.
yes, we know that these things are being produced in Nigeria, but the raw materials, the packaging materials,
limestone,
the packaging materials, the machines that they use, they're not produced in Nigeria.
Okay.
The fuel they use to power these machines are not produced in Nigeria. Is now high. Yes, the cost of transportation of the cement from the manufacturer company to the retailer's shop is high. Is now probably triple, and those people have to factor in this cost into their profit. So in as much as we want to shout that cement is being produced here in Nigeria, we should also know that the ease of doing business is not all that rosy.
I understand. And I have to say this because, and that's why I reckon with the fact that cost of production is high, just like as many other businesses as well. There was this time that you refer to that cement was being sold like a year ago, at some point, 10,000, 11,000 naira. And people had to shout, people were bad-mouthing some of these guys, the producers, and all of a sudden, there was, this competition between the two main guys, and then we had a price reduction. What I'm saying is this. Maybe sometimes people need to shout more, people need to make their voices heard more, and maybe some decision makers can actually do something. If actually people didn't shout at that time, we wouldn't have had that reduction, and we will be talking about factors of production and all of these things. What I'm saying is, if we are in a position to do something, and what you can still make your gain, can we just leave it there instead of people piling pressure? That's the point I'm making. People will do many things now under the guise of things are expensive. There are people that are fixing prices of a fact because we know that things are expensive. People will just put anything because they know that people doesn't have a choice, especially consumables. And you hear yes, we know, but can you just put your margin of gain and everybody is fine instead of just putting everything and everybody is just groaning? And you know what will happen is a cycle. If actually I'm supposed to buy 5,000 naira stuff from you and you're selling 7,000 naira, and my stuff that I'm selling, I'm not selling what you are selling, and I'm supposed to sell 6,000 naira, definitely I will have to, add the margin to my own as well, and nobody will gain at the end of the day, except maybe some middlemen of the top guys out there. That's the point I'm just making. Let's just make this country as easy, if actually we're in a position to do that, and not just pile unnecessary pressure and heap the blame on government, in which they are, whatever you say the government has done, most likely they have done it. So I'm not even holding brief for them. Now, the riders to the iron rod jumps from 800,000 naira to 1.6 million naira in a year. Okay. And, I think was it last week or 2 weeks ago, we took the story and spoke about the cost of importation of somebody that used to clear a particular container of goods for 2.8 million naira or so. And all of a sudden, clearing that same container now is around 23 million. They don't need to tell you who pays at this time. Situation dashing our hope of owning houses, citizens. Oh, say we just want to eat. You are talking about owning houses. But then it's priority for everybody. Experts blame Naira depreciation, transportation costs. Same blame. Vandals destroy local Jaguar-Gwalada transmission line. This is another thing which should be handled, and whoever the vandals are, be treated like terrorists because they are terrorizing the lives and properties and the livelihood of the people. Nigerians win elections in US and Australia. And it's quite, I think, destructive to have this particular one. The Nigerians are doing well, and they'll go to other people's land and excel in education now, in politics. Many MPs, Femi Badenoch is the highest, one of the highest political office holders right now. At least if she was straight minister and now a leader of the conservative, that's good to know. But in Nigeria, we are talking about Nigerians doing well in another man's country. We still have the rhetorics of go back to your state, go back to this place is for us. You can't do this. And other persons will come and say, no, this is our fatherland. Oh, it's not your fatherland, it's for everybody. Why the same Nigerians go to other people's country? In fact, we even had a particular, is it Yoruba political party or something, in the last UK election. And and nobody asked them to go back to their country. We should do better as a people. Edo governorship, ICPC to probe INEC officials over infractions. And ACF urges action as Lukarawa kills 15 in Kebbi. Here we go. Governor Idris sends delegation to NSA. CDA says terrorists may soon overtake Argungu Emirate. Argungu is one of the 4 emirates in Kebbi State, the Zulu Emirate, the Argungu as well. And that's where you have the Argungu Fishing Festival, International Fishing Festival. And Lukarawas are there. AGCOS visits Sokoto, seeks resident support and rescue our children. Parents of Zamfara students in Cyprus beg governor protect trails, protest rather, trails demolition of Ruga. Wike invites victims. And Kau to Kano governor, don't please Kwakwanso at expense of the masses. It seems something is brewing in Kano. We've seen, oh, I'm loyal. Oh, some persons are pushing me against Kwakwanso. Some of those things. But then, it is what it is. That will be all from the Daily Trust.
And from the Daily Trust, let's get on to The Punch. The Punch newspaper this morning, the big bold caption there's focusing on states' debt. States' debts hit 11.4 trillion naira as federal allocations rise with the rider. Foreign debt hits $4.89 billion as states owe 4.27 trillion naira local debt. Lagos, Rivers, Kaduna, Delta, Edo top chart. And we might want to look at the progress, development in this state. Is it proportionate to the amount of money that they are receiving as debt in form of loans and what have you? Lagos, Rivers, Kaduna, Delta, Edo top chart. What are the governments of the states using those monies for? And away from that, NLC gives governors December 1 deadline for minimum wage payment. Husband arrested for allegedly setting wife ablaze in home. What may be the cause? In this time right now, the slightest trigger, people can go berserk. People can do irrational things. People can go extreme. Remember the bus driver who set himself, the LASMA official and his bus ablaze just because he wanted to evade arrest. The man in Kwara who went stark naked to protest against the Federal Road Safety Corps officials who confiscated his motorbike. People are doing irrational things because they are not really there mentally. Their mental health right now is in a state of comatose, if I'm to put it that way, and the slightest trigger can make them just act irrationally.
Overboard, yeah.
I mean, this is a news of a husband allegedly setting his wife ablaze in Ogun State. Traders demand 3.4 billion naira compensation for Lagos market demolition. Top corner, under governorship poll, IG bans Amotekun, others as 15,500 ad hoc staff deployed. INEC declares 1.7 million voters for Saturday poll, 295,856 PVCs uncollected. That's a writer associated with that headline. Still on the Punch newspaper this morning, troops launch manhunt as Lukarawa intensifies killings in Sokoto and Kebbi. There was a time it was Boko Haram. Now Lukarawa, making the northwestern region unbearable for the residents there. It's good that the COAS has gone there on a visit to look at things and also speak with the residents. But it's also good that we do not lose people to this terrorist. Ministry is making a legal request for workers' promotion. This is according to a memo. And that will be all from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. And of course, for the newspaper review segment this morning, thank you for being a part. We take this breather. When we return, we'll speak to critical issues, especially in Ondo State, as the people go to the polls this Saturday. November 16 is the D-Day, where 17 contenders would be testing their popularity among the people of Ondo. We have stakeholders that would be talking to on how the preparations are going and also what to expect on that D-Day. Do not go anywhere. Morning Spring will be right back.